bull's got his head down. He's wanting to get his head up. He's going to take him anyway.
That became a 5-second example of why you may not want to become a bull rider.
He's knocked out. Open that gate, boys. Open the gate, boys. They got the gate open. Got him out.
There's something timeless about a good rivalry. It's not just two athletes going head-to-head. It's pride, legacy, and sometimes a little bit of hate. In bull riding, rivalries hit harder. These aren't polished athletes in air-conditioned arenas. These are cowboys with dirt in their lungs, broken bones in their past, and a chip on their shoulder. And over the last 30 years of the PBR, we've seen rivalries that didn't just define careers. They defined the entire sport. Let's dive into the most iconic rivalries in bull riding history. Real riders, real grudges, real history. Number 1, Tuff Hedeman versus Bodacious. Let's start with the rivalry that everyone remembers. This wasn't man versus man. This was man versus monster. Tuff Hedeman was a rodeo world champion, confident, tough as nails. Then came Bodacious, the yellow bull with a rocket for a back and a head like a freight train. Most bulls try to buck you off. Bodacious try to rearrange your skull. Their 1995 clash is the stuff of legend. Hedeman had faced Bodacious before and barely survived, but this time, it went sideways fast. Bodacious launched him, then caught him square in the face with his skull. Hedeman needed reconstructive surgery, and when he came back, he said hell no. He refused to get on Bodacious again. That moment changed everything. It wasn't weakness, it was wisdom, and it made the rivalry unforgettable. Hedeman versus Bodacious wasn't just a battle. It was the moment a man looked death in the face and chose to walk away. Number 2, Adriano Moraes versus Troy Dunn. The late 90s saw a new kind of rivalry. Two international titans, both world champions, both chasing greatness. Adriano Moraes was the Brazilian sensation, flashy, fearless, and relentless. Troy Dunn, the Aussie hammer, tough, gritty, and quiet as a stone. They clashed again and again in the early PBR seasons, each taking turns at the top. 1998 was peak drama. Dunn won the PBR World Championship, barely edging out Moraes. The next season, Adriano came back with fire in his eyes and took the title in 2001. They didn't fight in the parking lot, they fought on the scoreboard. Respectful, but cutthroat. 2 men, 2 continents, 1 prize. That's what made it great. Number 3, Chris Shivers versus Justin McBride. This rivalry, pure cowboy warfare. Chris Shivers was the silent killer, small, explosive, and with the kind of balance you can't teach. McBride, he was the all-American showman, charismatic, powerful, and brutally consistent. From the early 2000s to the mid-decade, these two battled at almost every major PBR event. Shivers had the flair, McBride had the strategy, and both had the numbers. They pushed each other to insane highs. Shivers was the first to ride 90 points more than 90 times. McBride became the first to earn over $5 million in career earnings. But the rivalry was more than stats. It was about style. Fans debated for years who was better, who had the heart, and who was tougher. They retired about the same time, with 2 world titles apiece. And to this day, fans still argue who was truly the king of that era. Number 4, Mauney and Silvano Alves. If you want a rivalry that split fans down the middle, this is it. Mauney, the fearless North Carolina cowboy, who'd ride anything with horns. Silvano Alves, the Brazilian technician who made the sport look like math. JB took risks. Big bulls, big scores, big wrecks. Silvano took points. He played the system, stayed on his bulls, and won titles with quiet consistency. From 2011 to 2015, they were the sport. Silvano won 3 world titles. JB won 2, but the crowd always roared louder for him. To some, Mauney was the people's champion. To others, Silvano was the smarter cowboy. And while they respected each other, the tension was real. Different philosophies, different countries, one world stage. It wasn't just about bucking bulls. It was about how the game should be played. Number 5. Jess Lockwood versus Jose Vitor Leme. You want modern greatness? This is your headline rivalry. Jess Lockwood came in young, cocky, and terrifyingly talented. The youngest world champ in PBR history at just 20 years old. Then came Jose Vitor Leme, a former soccer player from Brazil with freakish balance and an ice-cold mentality. They clashed hard in 2019 and 2020. Lockwood beat Jose in 2019, riding through pain and setbacks. Jose answered in 2020, putting together one of the most dominant seasons in history. Their rides became the main event, one pushing the other to a 90-point ride after 90-point ride. Lockwood had the swagger. Jose had the discipline. Both had fire in their guts. Injuries slowed Jess down in later seasons, but when these two were healthy, it was fireworks. This was the rivalry that kept the PBR flame burning bright in a new era. Number 6. Cody Hart versus Blueberry Wine. Okay, this one's niche, but if you know, you know. Cody Hart was wild, a bull rider's bull rider, and Blueberry Wine, a bull with a name that sounded sweet but bucked like hell. Hart got tossed, battered, and beaten by that bull more than once, but he kept coming back. In 1999, he finally conquered the beast in dramatic fashion and scored over 90 points. It was a man versus bull rivalry that embodied everything this sport is about: toughness, redemption, and a grudge that lasted years. Number 7, Mike White versus Ty Murray. This one didn't get the spotlight it deserved, but insiders know it mattered. Mike White came into the PBR with a chip on his shoulder. Ty Murray was already a legend, 7-time all-around champ and a founding father of the PBR. White wanted to dethrone the Kings. Murray wanted to prove he still had it. They clashed in the early 2000s, not just on bulls, but in presence. Who would lead the new generation? Who would control the locker room? Eventually, Murray stepped back and became more involved in leadership, but the fire between them sparked a lot of intensity inside the arena. Number 8, the locker room rivalries. Not all rivalries are public. Behind-the-chutes, riders have tension. They fight for sponsorships, recognition, and respect. But guys like Guilherme Marchi and Robson Palermo had their own clashes. So did Sean Willingham and Brandon Clark. Some were friendly, some were cold, and some, to this day, remain unfinished. Bull riding isn't a team sport. Every rider's fighting for the same 8 seconds, and that pressure, it brews rivalries the cameras never catch. The truth about bull riding rivalries: these rivalries aren't like what you see in other sports. There's no trash talk press conferences, no media stunts, just pain, pride, and persistence. What makes these rivalries iconic isn't the hatred, it's the respect. Even the toughest competitors, the ones who want to crush each other every weekend, shake hands when it's over. Sometimes. Because when you've both been stomped by the same bull, when you've both driven 10 hours overnight just to get bucked off in 2 seconds, you understand each other in a way no one else can. Alright, a final thought. The next great rivalry is already brewing. Maybe it's between young stars like Kyle Hamilton and Casio Diaz. Maybe it's a rematch between Jose Vitor Leme and a healthy Jess Lockwood. Or maybe it's not man versus man at all. Maybe the biggest rivalry left in bull riding is still man versus bull, and the bulls are getting meaner. One thing's for sure, rivalries built this sport, and they'll keep building it, 1 8-second ride at a time. Which rivalry do you think is the greatest in bull riding history? Drop a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe for more wild stories from the dirt and the chutes. This isn't just a sport, it's survival, and the best stories are still being written.